Happy Monday, everybody. This is Nathan Lindorf with The Rational Independent. Today we cover a brief but tragic story in our Reddit rant. So to cover the facts real quickly and then to get into the reporting, it appears that in Texas, over the weekend, there was a drunken man firing a rifle of some sort into the air, and his neighbors asked him to stop, and he turned the weapon and killed 5 people. There's no other way to look at this as other than just a tragedy. My heart goes out to the people whose lives were lost and to their family members. And as much as it is a tarnished cliche, prayers do count. Prayers are real, and my family's prayers are with them. Now let's talk about the reporting. Today we cover Business Insider, reporting on this headline: Governor Greg Abbott prompts swift rebukes after calling Texas mass shooting victims illegal immigrants in a statement offering condolences to their loved ones. Basically, on Friday evening, we're going to go over a couple of details from the article. On Friday evening, a drunk man shot and killed 5 people, including an 8-year-old boy, after the neighbors asked the man to stop firing his rifle in the air. Governor Greg Abbott has offered a $50,000 reward. The shooter is still at large, so there's a bounty on his head. He's being sought rather aggressively, I imagine, by law enforcement officials in Texas. Hopefully they find him quickly. However, there's another element to this reporting that we need to talk about. As is often the case with stories involving gun violence, there is another angle we need to talk about when it comes to the reporting. If you look at reporting on gun violence with a critical eye, you will notice that there is often the facts and then the angle that is being described by the reporter. I'll give you a case in point from a recent news article. There was a young boy, young black boy, who was looking for his younger siblings, and he knocked on a door, and I guess maybe he tried to open the storm door or something. I don't know all the details, but the short version is the homeowner shot him through the door, shot him a couple of times, including once in the head. Now, miraculously, thankfully, the boy survived. Terrible case of mistaken identity, terrible case of tragedy, probably some measure of carelessness on the gun owner's, homeowner, whatever you want to call him's part. But in the reporting, what was emphasized is that a white man shot a black boy. In other words, you have the facts, but the reporting focuses on race. When you have a circumstance where the shooter's identity does not fit the reporter's narrative, the shooter's identity is not emphasized. Either the race is not mentioned or some other fact is emphasized. For instance, what type of weapon was used or where the weapon was acquired. There's 1,001 ways that you can spin and twist and mold a set of facts to fit a preconceived narrative. Now that we've talked about that briefly, let's talk about the reporting on this article. It mentioned it in the headline, but it goes into more detail in the body. Basically, the angle is that Governor Abbott committed a grievous sin because he identified the victims in the shooting, as well as the shooter, as illegal immigrants. This is where identity politics clashes with policing, because good policing relies on factual statements to clearly express information about a suspect, about a crime. It relies on factual analysis and quick and clear communication in order to bring a bad guy to justice. If the people were not in America legally, then they are illegal immigrants. By identifying them as such, it helps people understand the nature of the community in which the crime took place, the likely places of refuge the shooter might go to if he also is an illegal immigrant, his behavior within the country as a fugitive. It's not casting aspersions on somebody's character to provide a factual description of who they are. For instance, if you had the same circumstance, and let's take that terrible example we said a minute ago. The white homeowner that shot the black boy. Let's say he killed the black boy. Let's say he realized his mistake and he fled. Rather than call the police, rather than try and get medical help or whatever, he said, "Oh no, I'm in trouble." And he ran and became a fugitive. Would it be helpful for reporters to say, this white man who lives in this neighborhood is on the run? Yeah, That's a factual description of the fugitive. To say a black boy was killed, that's tragedy. That's a factual description. Here you have a circumstance where the identity of the shooter is problematic to the narrative, because illegal immigrants are one of the protected classes. Within the current leftist worldview, illegal immigrants are a protected class. So here you have one protected class, the shooter, shooting other members of the same protected class, the victims. And so the identity of the shooter shouldn't be emphasized. It's often the case that what's emphasized is the weapon in that case, which was, as they stated, an AR-15 style. But if the shooter was an illegal immigrant, how did he own a rifle? Wonder why that wasn't emphasized, because it's pretty easy to spin that and discuss gun control, straw purchases, discuss other ways in which someone who shouldn't own a rifle owned a rifle and did violence with it. But that wasn't emphasized at this time. Instead, it was about Governor Abbott's callousness, his audacity to describe the victims as illegal immigrants. Sounds like a developing narrative. We'll watch and see where this goes. I think that just about covers it for today. Sometimes it breaks my heart to have to look at such senseless violence, and I just don't have the heart to dive into it much deeper than that today. So that's my Reddit rant for today. Good luck out there.